The rain that evening felt heavier than usual. It came down in sharp sheets, hammering against the tin roof of my workshop at the edge of town. I had just turned 17, still tinkering with salvaged tech from old satellites, when the world shifted for me forever. I remember the hum first, a deep, electric thrum that vibrated through the wet ground. Then came the flash, a streak of pale blue light tearing across the midnight sky. It wasn't a meteor. Seen meteors. This was something else. Drawn by curiosity, I grabbed my flashlight and sprinted toward the forest behind my house. The air smelled metallic, tinged with smoke. Branches had snapped, and the earth was scorched in a neat circular crater. In the center, half buried in mud, was a pod. Its surface shimmered, neither metal nor stone but something in between. The pod's hatch hissed open, releasing a hiss of steam. My heart thundered as I raised my light. Inside was a girl. She was small, no older than 10, her skin faintly luminescent, her eyes wide and silver like liquid mercury. She trembled, clutching at a strange shard of crystal that pulsed with light. "Help!" she whispered, her voice distorted as if layered with echoes. Fear warred with instinct, but compassion won. I reached out and helped her climb out of the pod. Her hands were warm, her fingers longer than mine, delicate but strong. That was the night I first met Kayla, the beginning of a bond. Kayla couldn't speak much of my language at first, only fragments, but she learned quickly. In the days that followed, I hid her in my workshop, feeding her scraps, teaching her words, and bandaging a wound along her side. She was frightened, always glancing at the skies as if expecting something, or someone to come for her. "Bad men," she told me one night, her silver eyes glowing faintly in the dark. "They want crystal. They want me." I didn't understand then, but I promised her safety. I told her, "As long as you're here, no one will hurt you." For weeks, we lived in secret companionship. She laughed at my clumsy attempts to mimic her alien words. She marveled at simple earth things, a frog, a paper airplane, the taste of chocolate. And yet, beneath her moments of wonder, I sensed the weight she carried. One night, strange aircraft streaked across the horizon. Kayla grew restless, clutching the crystal shard. "They find me," she said, trembling. I didn't want to let her go, but she pressed the shard into my hand and whispered, "Keep safe, Nde. I return." Before dawn, her people came for her, not the bad men she feared, but a cloaked figure who bowed to her like royalty. She glanced back at me as they guided her into a ship hidden in the forest. Tears rimmed her glowing eyes. And then she was gone. 15 years later, life moved on. I became an engineer, working with aerospace firms, but part of me always lived in that rainy night of my youth. I still had the crystal shard. It never dulled. It pulsed faintly whenever I held it, as though it remembered me. Then, on a calm summer evening, the sky split open again. This time it wasn't a crash. It was deliberate. A massive vessel, sleek and angular, descended over my hometown. Its surface glowed with runes I could not decipher, and yet, they felt familiar. My neighbors screamed, fled, or filmed on their phones. A beam of light cascaded down right in front of my workshop. I braced for panic, but what stepped out silenced me instead. She was taller now, regal in bearing. Her once childlike face had matured, sharp and radiant. She wore flowing garments of silver and violet, and a crown of crystalline metal rested upon her brow. Her silver eyes locked onto me instantly. "Daniel," she said, her voice clear, strong, and unmistakable. "I have returned." It was Kayla. The Queen's return. Shock anchored me where I stood. Kayla crossed the distance with long, graceful strides. Before I could find words, she placed a hand on my cheek. The same warmth, only steadier, as if the years between us had vanished. "I am Kayla Varen," she said, "Queen of the Andari Dominion. But to you, I am still the girl you saved." I tried to laugh, but my voice cracked. You're a queen." Her lips curved into a soft smile. "Yes. And I am here to repay a debt that has shaped my life," she explained. The crystal I had kept all these years was no mere trinket. It was the heart shard, a relic of immense power tied to her lineage. When I protected her, I safeguarded her future throne. Without it, her enemies would have usurped her bloodline. "Andari remembers its saviors," she said. "And you, Daniel, are remembered as mine." Shadows stir. For a brief, dazzling moment, I believed her return was a fairy tale. But reality came crashing when her ship detected pursuit. The bad men she spoke of as a child still hunted her. They were the Kerwaitich, a war-hungry faction that thrived on plundering civilizations. Their fleet had followed Kayla across galaxies, drawn by the heart shard. Kayla's eyes hardened as alarms blared in her vessel. "They are near. Daniel, I cannot fight them alone." I felt the crystal shard pulse in my pocket. Kayla seized my hand and pressed it to her chest. "This relic binds to us both now. You are part of its power. With it, we can stand against them." The battle over Earth. That night, Earth's skies became a battlefield. Huge warships emerged from rifts, dark and jagged like predators of steel. Kayla's vessel, though powerful, was outnumbered. She guided me into her command chamber, its walls alive with holographic constellations. "Your mind is sharp," she said. "You once mended my wounds. Now mend my fleet." I linked with her ship systems through the shard, feeling alien technology merge with human thought. Diagrams, trajectories, and energy flows lit up in my mind. With Kayla at my side, we commanded the vessel like extensions of ourselves. The battle raged for hours. Beams of plasma tore across the sky. Cities below watched in awe as Earth witnessed its first true war among the stars. At one point, a Koech warship locked onto our vessel, unleashing a barrage. The ship shuddered, alarms screamed, and Kayla fell to one knee. Without thinking, I took her hand, channeling the shard's power. Energy surged, repairing shields, pushing back the enemy. Her eyes met mine, blazing with silver fire. "Together," she whispered. And together we struck back. In a final surge, Kayla's vessel unleashed a torrent of light that ripped through the Kerry flagship. The remaining ships, leaderless, scattered into the void. The sky grew quiet again. A queen's choice. When the dust settled, Kayla turned to me, her expression softer than any crown could make her appear. "Daniel," she said, "the Andari Dominion awaits my return. But after tonight, I know my place is not only among the stars." I swallowed hard. "You mean here?" She nodded. "When I was a child, you sheltered me when I was powerless. Tonight, you stood with me when I carried a crown. I do not forget bonds like that." "I cannot." She offered her hand. "Come with me. To Andari. See the worlds beyond Earth. Stand not as my savior, but as my equal." I looked at the small town that had been my whole life. At the workshop where a scared, glowing child had once huddled by my side. At the crystal shard that now pulsed like a heartbeat in my palm. And then I looked at her. "I'll go," I said. "But only if you promise to bring me back for chocolate every once in a while." Her laughter rang out like music. Epilogue, stars and roots.